Namo Guru Me Namo Buddhaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Namo Guru Me Namo Buddhaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Namo Guru Me Namo Buddha Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Kande Lai Je Guen Je No Gane Rai Gai Jo Sa Bon De Chon Zen Che Ye Ya Bo Guen Ye Lo San Da Se Da Je Ba Ne De Je Zo Zo De Ye Na Ga Se De Be De Che Na Ma De Be Zo Ga Je Ta Lo De Be Se Na Je Jo De Mo Ye Je Ge Ya Jo Zo Zo She Je Je Ge Jai Be Lo De Do Ge Zai Na Be Ye Jo Le Je Zo Ai Be Ye Me Ze Be Go Ton De Be De Lai Ja Ze Ye Wo She Ye Na Zo Me Do Da Che Je Do Be Na Ze Che Ja So Wo Ja Ye De Che De Se Na Che Jo Che Na Che Mo De Ka Je Do Me De Ne Ye Le Ma Ye Je Me Ge Je Je Da Che Ba La Do Ba So Je Me De jo nye ne je mo tai be zo zo ja nye me de ma de ro la je che ye ma be de jo de ye wo mo ye ye la je ma lo ta jo so mo ta be ye ra ngo che So Sama Let me remind every one of ourselves to take a moment and generate or cultivate bodhicitta, or the altruistic motivation, seeking complete enlightenment for the benefit of all other sentient beings. And with that kind of at least contrived bodhicitta motivation, we should participate in this discourse on Bodhisattva's way of life. So we already discussed two of the things which are part of what we call preliminary discourse or Ngöndo. This Guide to Bodhisattva Way of Life or Chinju, Bodhisattva Char Avatar, is presented under three main outlines: preliminary discourse, actual discourse, and conclusion. So in the preliminary discourse, we already talked about salutation to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and we also talked about the pledge of composition. And now the actual discourse also is presented under two subpoints. That's kind of like a general presentation and a specific presentation. And the general presentation, it presents to us the sequential order in which we should understand the things to cultivate bodhicitta, or the altruistic mind of enlightenment, especially through equalizing and exchanging self for others. And before we really get to that actual way of cultivating bodhicitta, or the mind of enlightenment, there are things which come before that. So we need to deal with some of those, if you like, preceding points. No.
Oh, that the quorum the country is interested. And Tombo de Yap in the Gaga Yunta Chimbari, Shantideva Payon Liu Tombo de Payon Liu Tete. Then the Payon Liu Tete said the Shantideva Simcha Tondala and the Simcha Geshe the Bashavada and the Tinja sauce of what they go in the Shai Liu Siatira. Tire the workers. Sugovi Tinji Ribaki Liu Nipa Subetis, whatever the Liu da in Shantideva Liu Subetis. Tassim Gyeltsen Shantideva Dribi, Shijuba Gumzu Chasa, Juba Lubzi, Chirtomba, Shiratova Niles. Shantideva Gyeltsen, Tasi Shantideva Gyeltsen, the paint of Walla, said that Sinjeva Nahi Juba Lubago in the Juba Lubzi Tita Tondala. There's a Karsa. Tobala, Shiratova Liu Nisa, Tombo on the Shane. Juba Minimsi long door Juba Minimsi long door she top so Poyu Geshe the Poyu Liu Shivet Poyu Liu. That she tried the Shindu Juba Yams Linzu Chishi Debegone Sidum Liu Ngaba. Sedum Luti. That the native Subaso, Pajishima, Chisibelu, yours or but Sibelu, say any Karsati, Todilu, Sunday Lu, Sheralu, or Teodose. The Lulung should get out them, Hienlaton, Lord Jones, no Chever to Shane, Tommy Luchuba. Jibal Lubus don't also YouTuber don't the Monolio Drava with the easy was.
No.
No.
Actual discourse is presented under a general discourse presentation and particular or specific focused discourse, if you will. The general presentation basically outlines what is discussed in every chapter of this Guide to Bodhisattva's Way of Life. And so the chapter 1, it really discusses the benefits of cultivating awakened mind, or the bodhicitta, or the altruistic mind of enlightenment. In other words, what do we get out of it if we cultivate bodhicitta? Okay? maybe in modern language, what are the profits you gain from cultivating bodhicitta? And so as we get interested to cultivate bodhicitta, seeing or understanding its benefits, then we do encounter what we call challenges or the obstacles to cultivate it. And so in light of that, chapter 2 really discusses disclosure of negativity, or what we call confessing negative karmas, because negative karmas prevent us from generating bodhicitta. And then also through these two ways, understanding the benefits of bodhicitta, confessing the negativities, then how do we actually cultivate bodhicitta, which is discussed in chapter 3, the fully awakened mind. And so once we have generated bodhicitta, that's not everything. We need to use bodhicitta, or the mind of enlightenment, to engage in actions of bodhisattva's deeds. Yeah? And so to be able to engage in the bodhisattva's actions that involves what are the things we should not do or abandon, and what are the things that we should do or adopt. In Tibetan is a very beautiful word called langtor, right? Abandonment and adoption or cultivation. So we need to cultivate what we call heedfulness. That recent translation. In your translation says conscientiousness, yeah? So we need to cultivate heedfulness, the modern translation, the latest one, to be able to do the things that we must do to cultivate bodhicitta, and don't do the things that we should not do. So that is discussed in chapter 4, heedfulness, or pagyo in Tibetan. And then when we actually engage in bodhisattva's deeds, which consists of the 6 perfections or the paramitas, right, such as generosity and so forth, what we need is mindfulness, and chapter 5 talks about guarding, alertness, or mindfulness. Okay? And so we need mindfulness, introspection to be able to engage in the bodhisattva deeds or perfections. So we just discussed in chapter 5. And then the remaining chapter really deals with particular perfection, if you will. Chapter 6 deals with patience or tolerance, that we must have to cultivate bodhicitta and engage in bodhisattva actions. Chapter 7 deals with joy or enthusiastic perseverance, or chundu in Tibetan. So that's needed, again, to cultivate bodhicitta and engage in bodhisattva actions. Chapter 8 deals with concentration, perfection of, or samadhi. Okay? And chapter 9 deals with the perfection of wisdom. Okay? And then the last chapter, chapter 10, is about dedication. As we learn about Bodhisattva's way of life, then we know that we dedicate everything we have, our body, our roots of virtue, keva, and so everything, the best of everything we have for the well-being of sentient beings. So how should we do that kind of altruistic dedication? So in the general presentation, as you can see, this wonderful text consists of 10 chapters, and each chapter deals with a particular theme and practice, how all of those things are connected to cultivating and enhancing bodhicitta and engaging in bodhisattva actions. Chimba kawasu mo sombe ke chimba de phemen na yorbe kabare ma jimbe liu se yo mara ba la de ine china
the little thing Lungjo said, Jibato, I guess I are. This one. But I guess I is a deal Jiba the chair in the Gujo share to the shade to take a polish of Choluga tension. Until last Gawadi Shojunga Tandalago to Shanadi.
Another way of presenting this wonderful text of Bodhisattva Mahasattva Shantideva is maybe we can say more kind of from a practice orientation perspective. For example, we can just jump right into chapter 5, which is called Guarding Alertness or Cultivating Mindfulness. This is where really it talks about the perfection of ethics or morality, sultim, right, which really is the practice oriented topic or the theme. And then in other chapters we can see different types of perfections are explained, and there is no particular chapter that is labeled as a chapter dealing with the perfection of giving or generosity, but nonetheless the perfection of giving, dan paramita, is explained at various points in this text. So in other words, that after cultivating bodhicitta and engaging in those 6 perfections, from generosity to the perfection of wisdom, then at the end, we need to properly dedicate our collection of merit and wisdom. So that's why chapter 10 deals with dedication practice. So we can also say that this text could be classified or presented under 3 outlines. Practicing morality, practicing all other perfections, and doing dedication.
What is that? To see the dome of Baja, the cultures in the Shundi Jibishimu La Joel, Casa Lam Loja, Yella, the Jibishum Dinta, and the Tumu La Loja, wounded tongue, shall you show the same yeti, Yeti Jola. Lamne Sanjebe se Lamjirimba Zobatonla Jibu Sanji Ye Ni Zuyang Liu Gube Nang Dodu de Debaino Sasheta Juju the Tenzin Dorjee Shaju the same jet in this parish or Cholo to the Yeva de Tingon to tell in the Jibu and the Teja Toji to Jibu Denda tomorrow. Soon you got or to get there. In the Shaju same jet, then Shaju same jet. In the Cheval, the Sanji to Tenima, Sanji Sania, Sanji to love lawyer, they gave a tenima, Sanji at the end of the Kukinam Jazz, Sanji, and the end of the Dimaki Maris.
No, sir. From a summary point of view, this text of Bodhisattva Shantideva it extensively deals with what is bodhicitta or the awakened mind or altruistic mind of enlightenment, and how can we cultivate it, and so having cultivated it, how can we engage in bodhisattva's actions or activities benefiting sentient beings, and so before we do that, it also presents training our mind in the paths and practices common with initial level practice and intermediate level practice. For example, contemplating fully endowed human form, how precious it is and how meaningful it is, and all of those things are part of practice common with intermediate level practice, Yibuding. Okay? And through that kind of approach of the way, then once we have cultivated bodhicitta and we engage in the bodhisattva deeds of the 6 perfections, when we complete all of those things, we reach enlightened state, which is our ultimate destination or the goal. Okay? So that is really the main focus of Bodhisattva Mahasattva Shantideva's A Guide to Bodhisattva's Way of Life. But it really doesn't talk too much about once you become Buddha, right? What are the Buddha's qualities, enlightened in detail, right? It doesn't talk too much about the 3 enlightened bodies or the 3 or 4 enlightened bodies or the kayas, things like that. It does mention, highlight some of the enlightened qualities.
Karsa, Shauju Rinpoche Namba Ni Ranjul ene majaba jeva she liu soms da peyo liu da tene cheve liu payo dige mendo jeva menyu so liu chiru do di liu soms do shi di yu kon di peyo cheve liu soms liu gun do wa da di liu gu di dige she za di peyo she da mon di ya khong be do so da she do liu ngo shao liu jie di jie jubu sa jin di guo ni si jubu sa jin di guo ni xie wa yin la si liu jubu di da zu du de sa jin song na di li xie yin ba.
Also. But another way of presenting this guide to Bodhisattva's way of life is that, of course, the core or the key themes of this wonderful text, consist of cultivating the two types of awakened mind, two types of bodhicitta. Okay, so there are 3 chapters in this. Basically, deal with how to cultivate the 2 types of bodhicitta. And then there are 3, chapters which help us to, preserve the bodhicitta so that they don't decline or degenerate. Yeah. And then there are 3 chapters which really help us to enhance bodhicitta further to the, fullest extent. And dedication is also part of that. How to preserve bodhicitta. In the long run, so that's another way of looking at the presentation of this wonderful text. Cultivating the 2 types of bodhicitta and safeguarding them and enhancing them to the fullest extent. Yes.
What that tell the what tell garsa majab je shi tell da garisa na thoda be shoji se rimboche yul majab je shi liu liu som yus da no de thoda ba re som kya da de thoda ba se shoji se ngone chane geshe se jimero shi ji da thoda be shoji se na thoda singi se wa ro da de thoda singi se wa ra de da shoji se ngone chane我头要头他们谁叫着哇？我第一个这边着。可是这，要我喜欢留这头我说不用写，说我们这朋友留下留，上次用松水的上的嘞，上次是多把松长松松呀，是吧？这朋友的时候，这对象要重要，他的朋友的写，哎，那留下的这用过呀，可是呢，他听得开心有时缺乏这个啥的留下写的。乔就生阶段上，生出的在双龙学不说是的话，现在这些的在你把学会那结果嘛的是，可是啊，这是有的，可是那不出家的在了，出家完了可能他们不出的要不长发没有说开学我的是，现在出家的长发没有，他们那么。长发原来吹的呀，养老着休假还是为那吹脸头嘛是吧？是他们那不长么长些时间，那吹假为这个快现在被许多我们是那吹的过度，这两个月嘛这是。我听那些，那第呀，alle地方下的地方嘛下呢，小学生教我们说，现在第呀地方下的，他的学法都是对的，但是那地方下就是上百人啦，是的吧？我提起他第一次是错啥的，你把说回去他，呀，去吧，的错啥吧，去吧，这些你把小你知道，可是听见之后的，这件事你说过说，我第一早上就是送的是这个是吧？现在就不是说我这写的，这个小学生送过的，写的他的留下的留下留的就这听是吧？
So initially, we need to learn about and cultivate bodhicitta or awakened mind that has not yet arisen in our mind. Okay, that's our job. So in the text it says, how to generate, literally translating ultimate bodhicitta, almost right? Tandam semye. Of course, the ultimate bodhicitta is one of the two bodhicittas, which, but at this point, we're just starting the text. So Geshe thinks the word ultimate in Tibetan could also be understood as real, right? Genuine. So it's not so much the ultimate bodhicitta, footnote, in terms of bodhicitta dealing with emptiness, footnote closed, ultimate in the sense of real or genuine bodhicitta. Not the artificial one, not the look-alike one, real deal, right? Real deal bodhicitta, how to cultivate that. So there, as we said, there are 3 chapters, dealing with, how to generate real deal bodhicitta, not yet generated in our mind. And the 3 chapters are benefits of bodhicitta. When we really feel the benefits of bodhicitta, we feel so inspired and encouraged, right, and joyful that we want to cultivate bodhicitta. Yeah, that's where it all starts. So then the chapter 3 really deals with how to actually cultivate that bodhicitta or the awakened mind. But then one of the obstacles we face to cultivate bodhicitta is if we have a lot of negativities. Then these negativities prevent us from cultivating bodhicitta. That's why chapter 2 deal with disclosure or confession of negativities. The way Geshe explained that is the importance of confession or purification of negativities is if we have a lot of negativities inside us, they don't allow bodhicitta to arise in our mind. So we have to purify our mind of negativities. We have to do purification practice or confession practice or disclosure practice, because to be able to succeed in generating bodhicitta, we really need to accumulate tremendous amount of merit. If we have a lot of negativities, they don't go well merit, right? We have to decrease and get rid of negativities. In other words, that for us to be able to succeed in cultivating bodhicitta, there are 2 things we need to do, right? What we call create favorable conditions, right? Everything that will help us to generate bodhicitta, right, is a favorable condition practice. We need to do that, including accumulating merit and training our mind. But on the other hand, we also get rid of all the unfavorable conditions that otherwise prevent us from generating bodhicitta or succeeding in cultivating it. So those are the 2 things we do, and disclosure or confession, purification of negativities is very vital to that. The example Geshe has given is those who are expert in dyeing cloth, woolen cloth, right? Of course, you want the woolen cloth to absorb whatever color you want to put it on. But really a secret to that is make sure that the woolen cloth itself is very clean. It does not have any contaminations. So when you dye it, it will absorb the color fantastically, isn't it? But if the woolen cloth itself is dirty, you can put the best color on it, it's going to be smudged, isn't it? So like that, if we have a lot of negativities, contamination in the mind, then it's very hard to cultivate bodhicitta. So that's why chapter 2 deals with purifying or confessing negativities. So this wonderful text begins with benefits of awakening mind or bodhicitta, mind of enlightenment. And actually every chapter is presented simply under two main subpoints. What is this chapter about? What's its theme or the topic? Done, right? And the second one is what is the title of this chapter. So I think in the Tibetan presentation the name comes at the end after presenting the theme, but of course in English we got the title already. So this the first chapter is called Benefits of Awakening Mind or Bodhicitta, so it is presented under first we deal with what is the suitable life form or the basis for cultivating bodhicitta, right? Then, right, what kind of life is more like suitable, conducive for cultivating bodhicitta, and then what is that bodhicitta being cultivated in that life? So as we said that we need to talk about in other words what is the special physical basis, the life form favorable for cultivating bodhicitta, and what is the mental basis for cultivating bodhicitta. When we talk about the basis, right, upon which or with which we cultivate awakened mind, we can classify it into two: physical basis, luiten, and mental basis, senten. Okay. And so when we talk about the physical basis here, we call a special physical basis. The emphasis on speciality here is this is where we talk about fully endowed human life or a form. Sometimes we call it precious human life, just simply. What it really means is that a human life that is characterized by 8 freedoms or leisures, delva, and 10 enriching factors, jorva. A precious human life that's characterized by 18 wonderful qualities. So that kind of a physical life is a special physical basis for cultivating bodhicitta. Okay? Why is that special life basis? Is because in that human form you can take bodhisattva vows, you can keep them, you can engage in the bodhisattva practice and deeds. So that's why that kind of life is a special physical life basis for cultivating bodhicitta. Otherwise, theoretically speaking, right, as is said in other texts too, that bodhicitta may arise on the life form of any of the 6 types of beings in samsara. Right, we usually talk about 6 types of migrators or 6 types of sentient beings in samsara. Every life form, maybe it's possible, there's a theoretical possibility that every life form, you can generate bodhicitta. But this precious human life among all this life form is a special one, because you can right away take bodhisattva vows, you can practice them, observe them, and do the Bodhisattva practice and so forth.
What did Tadelia Karza Tenzin said, Tilia, any good, and then Jibushi, Bessie, Chang, Chizzy, do what I'm here that. You go to the good to go or in the country, easy with Namda Songo, Teacher Kia, because it's not a number of Muslim Jammers. Jimatan Karsin machine is pedo Morris. Sidum Kayan, you can pay your soldier to the Bango. So that Timabon ended the toy, Michelle, this is the Juicy Adire. You go to the Solda in it. Sidum Namda Songo, the Sidum Namba Tabas, the Karsa, she's most with some jet. In the supposed to judge in the sea, the what it is. You see, but Sirvish was the night over to get the Yasushi Kokaro, young Lungju go, but that Lungju, the enemy Lua Tawashe, in the round of younger share, to your Mongoson was the Jugo Nika Tereta, Judo said the share. That Jibuko the said the Dimida, Jibuko Nika the Timida, Karsa, Dimida, and Changa de Javina. The Dendro did be Chung she, Karsa, don't you say, Yendro the Monsieur she, did work a Jewish, Jibuko the Rodere, Jibuko said the Molo de Shena, gone to mill to the mount, that is only the Pasha. But you go to the court, you can saw, Dico Hago, this or what. The pay going to the Joshua. Jozo Chemunal, and you forgot you was Shan, and the reveal of the Lord Jaja told the Calco, and the peg with the peg covers the Horva. No, so did it. That tongues it is on the so used to the day, and the dendro the endrolling and drink was such a budino she is. No, so. And dendro the endrolling and drink your Karsa, dendro the endrolling, the drink your Shartse dino she is Laro, she did that tongue on him. No. So Gyeltsen in Tibetan, fully endowed human life, is a very precious and rare kind of life. It is greatly meaningful, and it's very rare kind of life, very difficult to find, over and again. Yeah. So that kind of precious human life, characterized by 18 wonderful qualities, is the special life base, physical life basis for cultivating bodhicitta. And that life basis, how rare and difficult it is to find it could be explained from multiple points of view or perspectives. From causal point of view, right? In order to be able to have a precious human life, one must abide by pure ethics, at least one pure ethics. You cannot goof on that one. Okay? Otherwise, there's no chance to achieve precious human rebirth. At least one ethics has to be kept pure as it is, right? That is minimum, ethical cost that one needs to create, and then along with, you could engage in the practice of 6 perfections as a kind of auxiliary to that, so to speak, and then we have to do pure dedication of our merit. So it's through creating that kind of causes, right, that we are able to achieve precious human rebirth. So that's not in some way easy task, right? How many are doing that? And so that's from causal point of view, as we can see, it is difficult to find this kind of precious human life. Now also from the resultant point of view, because this kind of precious human life is a result or outcome of positive energies or karmic actions. Yeah. So when we look at sentient beings, how many sentient beings have achieved precious human rebirth? Relatively speaking, very few, isn't it? Because this requires creating and a lot of positive actions and merit, whereas other forms of sentient beings are many more in numbers. And so if we kind of compare human beings to those of the hell beings are
exponentially through the limitless numbers more than human beings. So hell beings are the outcomes of negative karmas, whereas precious human life is the outcome of merit. So from resultant point of view, when we look at the result and what kind of a causes we must create to get this kind of result, we know this is not easy at all. Okay. Then from examplary point of view, many different examples are given to demonstrate the rarity of finding this kind of life. One classic example is that imagine the great blue sea or the ocean, okay, and on the surface there is a golden yolk with one hole in the middle drifting on this ocean. There is a blind turtle underneath the ocean that surfaces once in every 100 years. What is the chance of this blind turtle surfacing once in every 100 years to get its neck through the hole of this drifting yolk? That almost seems like impossibility, right? But nonetheless, it is possible. So finding this kind of precious human life is as rare as that kind of thing happening, okay, once in a blue moon, so to speak. So from exemplary point of view, this life, precious human life, is very meaningful and very rare kind of life. Now, from in terms of numbers, from statistic point of view, okay, Shakyamuni Buddha said, those who go from happy rebirth or the good rebirth or to the unhappy rebirth, these are just countless. He said these are as countless as the dust particles on this great earth. Whereas those who go from the unfortunate state rebirth to the fortunate state rebirth, that's as few as, he picked up some dust on the tip of his finger, they're as few as this many dust on my finger. So in terms of, from statistical point of view, number wise also, to have this kind of precious human life is very rare. No.
Okay, that Tenzin Dorjee said that Ganga Piri Gamrina, you come to go to the
No.
But that teacher that tell a Begum Janus, Shinju Shinju Lotus said, Chidor the Jun Drama Motorati, Shinju Lotus draws at two said. But him that the other Jonathan, the Shinju Lotus didn't know the rage. Never either to the Tacos on Jiwari, never see that to Dorjee. And Lalo said, Kubajo, not selling Bush, sitting lot down near Siro. And the lock that is the lender, the Jawas Megatangache. And the Sanjay Mijo, Sanjay Jide the Marson, and the Kupas is not the Mareta, Carson, this is what that. It's a shame you cook was over Mare. Simple bit change to Jeremy, the Lambert is what that is.
No, so.
Or did that become yes, I think is it.
No, so.
That did a Shedata or a lot setting Bosia, the Sunday she may. Ni shows in the US because Yaki is on the and touching those and ship orders done and ya she report of this ya sell model be equal them sort of take you to the Lord Chita the years ago.
No, so we are on page 4 in English translation. If you have the same text as I do, published by the Tibetan Library in India, page 4, right on the top, stanza number 4. So Geshe didn't read the stanza, so I didn't read the stanza yet. So anyway, Geshe says that so precious human life, as we said, or fully endowed human form, those are the wonderful English translations we could have, right? Teljor in Tibetan. It is characterized by 18 great qualities. Which called 8 freedoms and 10 enriching factors. So 8 freedoms. Freedoms means free from what? Free from some impediments and constraints and things like that. Okay? And Geshe said, because you have heard Lamrim so many times, probably you know this already. So anyway, as a kind of a friendly reminder about those 18 qualities, we will go through that. So what are the 8 freedoms we are talking about that precious human life consists of? Free from, right, the 3 unfortunate states of rebirth. That's 3, right? Free from hell, free from hungry ghost world, free from the animal world. So those are 3 freedoms there right now. Okay, and free from what we call long living God, little g God. Now that's need a little more explanation, because when we think in terms of the dhyana or the samadhi stages, concentration, the 4th stage of concentration, they said it has one locality where when you are born as a divine being, the moment you are born, you are aware that you are born into that location. And then until it's time for you to die, you don't have any more awareness. It's like you are sleeping. Right, you are snoring and in a deep sleep for thousands of years. So before the death strikes you, then you become aware that, oh my gosh, I'm going to die now. And so if you are reborn in those kind of a location, divine, then it's a non-freedom state. You can't practice Dharma. Okay, so that's what we're saying, freedom from that, free of what we call wrong views or distorted views. Freedom relating to where Buddhas don't appear, okay, other locations where Buddhas don't appear, and also being born as what we call kukpa, means dumb, one can't speak or talk, right, and so not being in that kind of how should I say human condition. And then lalo, can lalo say it? Lalo somebody.
Lalo say the Timare da Gaden Namshad San Ming Ma Pamalin say what to the Mondo.
No, sir. And so lalo is more we can define in terms of kind of a lacking sort of even basic sort of intelligence or wisdom, that so somebody's kind of I don't want to use the word stupid. Completely, you know what I mean, right? So being free from that kind of a completely, that kind of a state. So we are free from those 8 non-freedom states. So our precious human life is characterized by the opposites of those, which are the 8 freedoms.
What did because that is also my direction, and Lord, your Hindu constant is also Lord. 人家这说是的，家里要的这抽出去么？就是靠，那人从靠对岸些的靠云听底下要么话是的，这是我这。
no so。
高雄嘛是浙江，那个啥，对岸把的没为在，南边是，徐州美女把当时，靠这个是那么这个呢，把这玩这不得了就，老了大那个大家可靠上我嘛什么这个钱。And the last setting, but then Geshe Meva Tang and the Suk Meva Nimber, she didn't do a soul, shading said that the Hizan Kakaja, Suk Meva in that Suk Meva to the Suzu you on the Sumi to church that humor Sido, Jitang to Yunjasina, that did it. The Shimiva said it, the last setting was said, yes, Tangit.
No,
He doesn't do a soul shading, said, Geshe Mevalan, Geshe Mebabat, Geshe Mebaba said that there did not show that the so sumi hats of Gangaya in the flat selling bush on the Shagwesera.
No, so.
And do we show you last? Segama and the Shime, Yumju Gombata, Terjawa said. Yamata and Shizema those Sodu Kojis and Gagway says that Sodu Gagadiga, the Rabagara, and the Geshe to Mother Nature should do the Mugumbala. Sumi the Jeve, so Yilani, Tarva Tang Dube, say, Gami, say, Mugumba was. The Sumisa Su, because I paid you to share your marwa. She had a culture thing out of the 10 years your marwa.
No.
But this called that Dugan and the Yomara Vigil. And he showed you, I think, it's a penny cup with it. Sumi that Chu Nega Ying was you get to suck young Ameto, whom they said, you shook the yard, which here is a model.
No, so.
Karsa. Jema sume dibe ka me go ba yin las. Me go me je damlen debe shawe ta du yin de la yang la sing bo she do sa da dire. Yo de da sen de la se de zan ngan zan de dire kare de la ru se ya de ngan de ru ne na chu xia yo de yo wa.
No.
Di chena me go ne se de si de la de so en mugum is like as mugum la zan chu xia me ba de mari de sinan do yo de be lungju da zu se me yi xie den dung ye un ju nyung nyung xie de这个松山dung ye zan me de chu chen ya kha go de wo wa de de chu chen ya kha go de be se ga da de de li yin ni se ko de de ji ge zo en de mugum sta ya ra be mugum de ma ra
No, so.
de la xie karsa Inshallah, taking memory megosa. The corner she
Can this shoe shaka tang boge?
La.
And this sugar again. No, so. In the three unfortunate state of rebirth, or we simply call bad migration, in Tibetan, theoretically there is a possibility to experience compassion and bodhicitta, but that could be very momentary. As soon as they pop up, you lose them because the suffering is so pervasive and intense in these migrations. So it's overwhelming suffering doesn't allow you to be able to sustain your compassion and bodhicitta or to enhance them. So that's why if we find ourselves in the three unfortunate states of rebirth, it's very hard to practice Dharma. Yeah? So that's what Geshe explained. And then we also talked about how being a member of a long-living little g gods is also not favorable for Dharma practice. So this kind of includes a number of things. And it also includes what called being born in the formless world of existence. Right? If we are born in a formless world, now as we can see, in the formless world, beings don't see each other. So it's very hard to practice Dharma, right? Nobody's there to teach you, nobody's there to listen to teaching, there is no that interaction, discourse interaction thing. So therefore, being born in a formless state of existence is such a disadvantage for Dharma study and practice. And then also, the divine beings of the sixth desire realm or the world, generally speaking, that is not like they cannot practice Dharma at all, because in other Buddhist texts they said they could. But it is included here in this commentary with the long-living divine beings, because if you are born as a divine being in those heavens or the paradise, the pleasure of the divine is so intense and pervasive, it's very hard to, kind of think about engaging in Dharma study. You get distracted, all the time. So it's very difficult to say, I need to practice Dharma. It's precious. No, because you're sucked into the divine pleasures and the divine bliss. And so therefore, from Dharma practice point of view, it is a disadvantage to be a member of such divine communities. Okay, what else? Then as Geshe said, in the formless world, by the power of your habituation with cultivating compassion and bodhicitta, you may feel some impact of those things in a formless rebirth, but you cannot, unfortunately, enhance your practice. That is another issue, being in a formless realm of existence. Let me see. Am I missing anything? No again.
Ode da migum je no migum shidi da kornam ji migyo new takopsi kornam ji gezu phamani gelon phamani o tinde tenja de shunge mese yu chawda tinde mensa yu de any karsa yu takopsi go sarwa no so and karsa yu takop du jebe yu takop jebe la lo she yu tako si ta de ma pa ma len se tu de ka je long do na ya tu za ne me ko de le che ta len ku se len se ne de sam lu ku ba che ku ba se ne ka le ke je she me che yin la de ming na la sa ba ma sa wa ông bố mà sang xí rồi ta ông bố thằng mấy sau đó ở đây đi là ông bố mà sang xí liên đề đó số sum thằng xe ngay thì đi là mấy bạn chỉ lô tô mấy bạn xí lô ta chân xí anh sang chân chỉ đến thì dùng mấy thứ gì xí mấy cái vật thế khi này mấy cái về mấy cái gì là xí ta sang chân chỉ đến mà sao thì có chỗ cái bạn cho thì chỉ đến sao thì rồi anh GSTDL Shantideva 상계 GSTDL 정보 말아. 문계세 마음이 바로 버리니 동계세 상계 정보서 단저서를 드레레레도 요마도 지금 GSTDL 심지어 차 따와리 들려야 상계 때문에 다달까 요 말아. 세다 뜻어서 에네 상계 정함에 와서야지 디렉터 문백게 봐. 이다 추어던 거 랑돌 계세다 안조 고야 고라 요 말아. 대라 가서 상계 정함에 와서야지.
No.
Baby, 2 years, Medgeva, or Tibetan, Jigde come Medgedena, in the sugar gets a shingizan Yomara, T-shirt. Because the hidden milky Meguma in Lassa. Dear Gamma, Nidan, Shimene, Langdorian, Kaya, she maneuver, locked that, Jenny. Langdo shi minula lokda jin da ko ko mba dirwa lokda jin ne mo me osta line de kya nga ji me ne ko chuli thona me rwa ta jebo te da de ke ne cho gwa jba la ta te go me ne me go me ne shi shade se o de me shi te ko me go me se ya de kar cho jba le me go me kom zung ga shi kom zung mo zung shi te do jo ma ji se ya dirwa shi cho jba tu do me za in me go me la wa res Dua lonely, Gelota, Muguma Jebodane, Kansa Sambarjawala, Nebe, Tumaino, Jeka is a Jeba song last, hidden legend. Nejibot to the Jawala, Gates, Tua Mebena, Mugo Sheso, Sheso, Tita Muguma Ye the tail, Melanie, Tenzin Dorjee, he chatted, Dua loneless. Kansa Sambarjawala Nebe, TV Tuni de Tigishik Jigdin de Juan, John the Churjan, the Sheso, Dubarian, Mugun Yebunti, Tewa Taudi, Jesos, or did that Mugum Yet, this year.
This woman again, this usual. So when we look at what we call the 8 what are called, constraining conditions. We call them 8 non-freedom states. None in the sense lacking freedoms to practice Dharma. That's the issue. In the 8, there are 4 which we call it non-human, non-freedom states. In other words, the 3 unfortunate states of rebirth, being born as a hell being born as a hungry ghost or predator, being born as an animal, right? Because these are all not humans. So these are non-human, non-freedom states. And being born as a long-living God, that includes, is a whole package, other things. So it is non-human, non-freedom state condition. Okay? And non-freedom in the sense that we are not talking about any other freedom you have there, right? Whatever you're doing. But we are saying is there's no freedom really to engage in the study and practice of Dharma. Then the remaining 4 non-freedom states are related to human conditions. So these are called 4 non-freedom conditions of humans. And so that includes, for example, being born in what called Yultako. We call it, literally it means being born in a very remote land or location. The remote in the sense, deprived of spirituality, spiritual discourse, Dharma discourse, okay, where you don't hear even a word of Dharma, right? And so that kind of, if you are born in such a location or a land, then there is no chance to study and practice Dharma. So that is one of the non-freedom states of humans, if you will. The another one is holding what we call the distorted views or lokta, translated as wrong views, distorted views, or perverted views, which includes what called how should I say, disbelieving in the life before and after. Okay, I know that requires probably someone looking at my face here. Hopefully some explanation will come. What does that mean? And if somebody says nothing exists except this life, there is no life before, there's no life after, do whatever you want to do, something like that. Geshe didn't say that. I'm just trying to clarify this for you. Okay, my footnote. Then they don't care about Dharma, right? Because why would you care? There's no life after, there's no life before. This is what it is. Just do whatever you want to do, right? That's the issue here, distorted view. Okay, then being born with some defective faculties, and as we know, those disabilities will really prevent us from being able to understand Dharma well and practice, right? That's again non-freedom human conditions. Now I found a better way to translate the kukpa in the sense. Cognitively challenged, isn't it? Our cognitive ability is so deficient that we can't even understand a little basic, just ABCDs of Dharma. That's responsibility, right? Cognitively, somebody doesn't have such ability. It just doesn't get into the whole mind. So that kind of cognitively challenged is a non-freedom state. Because how do you study Dharma and practice Dharma when you can't understand? Okay? And then being born in, at a time when Buddhas don't manifest in the world. Yeah. So we cannot take for granted that Buddhas are there forever and forever with us and looking over us. Most of the times, we call it dark ages from Buddhist point of view. Dark meaning that Buddhas don't appear, they don't teach. Once in a blue moon, in between these dark eons or ages, there is what we call light, right? Illumination, light as in age, where Buddha will show up and Buddha will give teaching. Yeah. So if we are born at a time, one of those dark eons or ages, then really we are deprived of the opportunity to study and practice Dharma. Okay. So those are the non-freedom states of humans.
저거지 메니스 메이바셰 유스제바셰 엉보상와셰 유스제바셰한테 데려다 건제 코로나 유들 유우셰 다 도지된 지고라고 모르시나
맞아.
그래서 가서 최득시나 데려다 코로나 여기 지고 사제체 마셔셰 사득시도 도지된 지 샤들려가 으시라세야 지금 지야도가 어디 도지된 지고 거기 뒤 넣어서 다 유우스게 마셔고로와 다 엉보상한테 하고 그러와 매나와도 당당히 봐세 레다 먹어서 참여 마셔버려와 내일 대화세 내 담배 쉬어 대화 내일 대화 쉬어 도와를 대화서도 가게 그도 도와서 되면서 그냥 도와 도대 엉보세야 돼 도와 말이 그 도와서 지금 상기 쉬질 도와서 그러와 심지어 탑선 거기 사지 쉬어 대화 그거로와 도와 대화세 돼 가르사 내일 대화세 돼 제다 어디 다주 상하세래 신설 같습니다. 제다 정정가 거제 정정가 된데스 알레 시송의 대한 인사 제 정정가 된데 밀키로 봐다 데르다 메인바시 코로나 유여인비 우스제바시 랭구 소스 마존 인라 민나소 상황에 엄보 상황다 세들 세미 마지막에 레다 말로바시 그래서 세들라 참이 나 셰도 셰도 뭐좀 셰주와 뭐이바네 레다 말로보 지들 데만데제 거주 제외 네 도와를 대봤던 가이라세 어떻게 다 지대는 대만 디스 다 지대는 파세는 가도 토리 토비로 개와tam스기로와 지대는 대와서는 다 타바이지 토야데 개와들 지대는 대와스기로 어디지 그래서 가져 탐지 가는 중으로서 철 중으로 하시다가 철 대화 철들어야 철 되노서 대화 어디시 노안에 되는 순간을 저 송소세 되는 순간을 마시나 미 지금만 와사데 어디서
맞아. So as we said, a precious human life or fully endowed human form is characterized by 18 wonderful qualities, 8 freedoms, and 10 enriching factors, Jorbachu. So we just talked about the 8 freedoms from the non-freedom states, and now we will focus on the 10 enriching factors, which are classified into personal endowments or enriching factors and circumstantial endowments or enriching factors. Okay, the Tibetan word is Jorba, translated as endowments or enriching factors. Okay. Those who are just kind of keeping track with the Tibetan terms and the English translation there. So the 5 personal endowments or enriching factors include being born as a human being. Okay, that's one. Okay. Number 2, being born in the literally translating central location or land, Yuyus. Now this is explained in 2 ways. Central location or the land from kind of a geographical point of view in the Buddhist way, it really refers to Bodh Gaya, right, where Buddha achieved enlightenment. And then from there you can look into all these 4 directions, right, being born there. But another way of looking at the central location is from Dharma point of view, perspective, if you will, which means being born in a location where there is kind of presence of spiritual Sangha community consists of the 4 members. The 4 members of Sangha are, right, what called novice monk and novice nun, and fully ordained monk and nun. So these are called the 4 members of a spiritual community or Sangha. And so central location can be defined in terms of the presence of this Sangha. Okay. So being born in that. And then Ongkut Sangha have all your faculties intact. Right? As we said, if we are cognitively challenged, physically we could be great, but cognitively it's so difficult, we don't know what's going on and nothing gets into the mind, and just that's tough, right, to practice Dharma. So being free of such what are called faculty limitations or constraints. And Leta Maloba means not literally translating one who has not fallen into this extreme kind of action, meaning that one who has not committed any of the 5 heinous negativities or tsamenga, 5 boundless negativities, footnote, such as killing one's mom or dad and shedding the blood of an enlightened being, things like that, footnote closed. Okay. And then the 5th one is Nealateva, having faith in the source, meaning Dharma. Right here the Dharma really refers more in general to the 3 baskets of discourses. A basket of Sutra Pitaka, basket of general discourse, and Vinaya Pitaka, the basket of ethics or moral discipline, and Abhidhamma Pitaka, the basket of knowledge, right? So having a faith in the 3 baskets of the teachings. So those are called 5 personal endowments or enriching factors. And so in other words, having a faith in the source means really having a faith in creating anything virtue. Now the virtues can be classified into 2. Mundane virtues, creating a lot of virtues so that I will be reborn as a human being, right? It's more like that. Then there is super mundane virtue, meaning virtues we create to achieve nirvana and enlightenment. So these are more of high level virtues, if you will. Yes.
我的到肉肉啊，这说说当过的，现在现在的的可能当过的人多啊，上星期的说嘛些，他去那样上节开始，上节去嘛的这两个的是那个的意思是吧？这去当嘛些，甚至说是上节去嘛，上节上第年度节特别去当嘛些， 덤바네도 사디면서 셔 때는 세 뒤시시도 담배 쇼운도 시 저 이냥바 시아바니 셔 덤바 내바스 거기 셔 냠슬레니 사지기네 셔 때 데마 냠스는 방시 들이잖아 에네 냠슬랭게도 셔 희게다 에네 또바 주제가 방마지 바게 내셔바들 때 내와 세디와 다 또바 dingi 제시 주는도 셔고 셔에 깨와요 렉네세 어디에다 제대로 렉봤다 때바 제수 주바시 제주 용게듯이 네 셔네와 제수 숨부바고 짐바바다 짐다 현제시 셔고도 소진소지 고제시와니 게 그때시와니 현지적인세와때 내가네 에네 ronjoji yeba songso sa deta dere digeda helden sanga iredo so chöshine da chöjoshi da so be so chapjo machina and it cuz siwone me rakmarasne odi tengin yor de ningje hejin de jawasedi and so chöshine sanje gibi ye gejo chöshine karsa 도리시세야디 다 시절 지금버스 사지 송도 되고네 이해 이사리 노서 최신의 세인의 그 사지마는 시절에서 거야요 말아 노서 어제 되게 현실적인 세대 때래자
So those are called five personal endowments and enriching factors. Personal in the sense that it's something an individual has to fulfill from his own her side, right? You need to have it, from your side. That's called personal, and personal related to you. The next five are what we call circumstantial endowments, enriching factors, more like environmental enriching factors, something that needs to be fulfilled from external conditions, if you will, which means the first one is Sangye Junda, that Buddhas appear, manifest. Okay, as I told you before, Buddhas don't appear all the time. They appear sometimes and not all the time. Sometimes Buddhas will appear, but they may not teach. They just quickly pass away. So not only Buddhas appear, but they will teach. Right? Number two. Number three, that Buddhas, teaching really it exists. The Dharma is available. Okay, and those who want to practice, follow Dharma, it really exists. Okay, Tempa Neda. And number four. There are those who attain realizations, right, such as stream enterers. That's a technical term, I know. You're looking at me, right? Anybody? So those who really gain realization through the practice. Okay. And number five, Yin Seva. Those who show compassion, meaning those who are very supportive of, those who sincerely study and practice Dharma. Right? Dharma practitioners need to eat. Right? Otherwise they can survive. So there is kind of supportive individuals or community that they will provide you the facilities to do your practice, and that's important. That comes out of their compassion. As Geshe said, actually, Shakyamuni Buddha himself promised and said that if anybody who follows me sincerely, my monastic members, they will never die of starvations. So that's his pledge and promise, and Geshe says that's very true, right? There is no known story that a sincere Buddhist monastic, following Buddha's way has ever died of a starvation, because there's always people who are supportive, right? They show their compassion and provide a support. So those are the five circumstantial endowments or enriching factors.
내가 지지죠 신중기세 제시서 미국에 게래 가제 게르베 멜라 텐조디 헬라스 미국에 텐조 헬라 미국에 제 제기 멜라 멜라 조와지 상주는사다 벤 텐조니나 엔데 조와지 되게 주의서 밀리비 차우지 시고세 다 기술로저 제시는 알아서 청순이 멜제베 미니에다 나로 소소 노디 마제베 유스 제와 당세 레구소 메베 옹보성와 당세 레다 록다제 메베 베 니데다 레다 몰로베세 니템바르세 힌디베 숭버 셰중 쉐동 코르남시 차비 유수제비 시정아양 네버 송라사 나때 신중시는 그지 대조 티베트 예산은 저와지 상도 그랬어. 저와지 상도 대와지 상고 그랬어 그랬다.
알았어.
때때야 먼저 남지 샤도스 보이라마 가지게 대화 저 맞아 숨지서서 하도 됐어요잖아. 숨지서서 하도 되게 가르쳐서 하다 참매시오 참매지 미도를 되게 조주 상대요. 가사티 대화지 상대 저와지 상어 말씀이세요. 저와지는 대화 말 참매 말이죠. 말이
Awesome. So this is a little different perspective. A commentator called Shijung Lode, it looks like his commentary has been referenced a lot of the times. So among many commentaries on this wonderful text, his is at least kind of regarded as a prime commentary. And according to this master, Shijung Lode is the name of the master. He says that if a human life is endowed with 8 freedoms, then he thinks that would entail necessarily that you also have the 10 enriching factors. Okay, that's his position. If a precious human life fulfills the 8 freedom conditions, then that would necessarily fulfill the 10 enriching factors. But then the other Tibetan masters, do not necessarily agree with that. They said, for example, they will give the mention of like a human beings who has all the 8 freedoms, but who still has committed any of the 5 heinous crimes, and they said, well, somebody who has committed the heinous crimes, same, boundless crimes, is lacking an endowment, right? You cannot. So there are those different perspectives. Okay.
송라 도도 로부카지게 저와전 대저됐다고 메고메 제방반이 대노데서 셰셰라 비비드서 가시게 메고메 제 방신 조준 대발라 대저디 셰지 메고메 제 제제 가바탄 저바치 데 저바치 주대지 드베 요데인베스 메고바시에지 커서 조시에지 메고바지 드네 드베 요데인베스 멘데바시에지 아니 부동 송소입니다. 대단히 조야고 송어서 다들이 다다 메고바 제일 타서는 저와저 상으로는 저와 메고바 제일 타와 저와저 상 니셰고 하면 되어서 경험을 말했어. 메고바 세야디 타르세야디 그거를 제자는 샤워르지. 저와저 세 상고야 되는 샤워에서 거기 노자하여라. 티샤가 거기 더다지 집어야 되시는 레니시야 저기 경험을 말했어.
As we said, that Master Shijung Lode contends that if a human life fulfills the 8 freedom conditions, then that life would automatically fulfill the 10 enriching factors, right? And then some other masters kind of critique that. Well, in that case, what need is there to talk about 18 qualities? Why can't you just stop with 8 freedoms, right? Why do you have to talk about 10? Just you're repeating yourself there. And then the response to that is no, because the 8 non-freedom states is presented from what needs to be gotten rid of, right? What you should be free from, the negative conditions. The 10 enriching factors are facilities, right? That's more from complementary point of view. So they said, you know what, there's nothing wrong to talk about 18 qualities, even though we say that having the 8 freedom also entails having the 10 enriching factors. Okay, so these are some scholarly, or what should I say, viewpoints on these issues. So all the Geshe-la's explanation pertains to, just my own reminder, the stanza number 4 on top of page 4. Leisure and endowments are very hard to find, and since they accomplish what is meaningful for man, or human we should say actually, if I do not take advantage of them now, how will such a perfect opportunity come about again? So we will stop there today, and we will respond to your questions. We have a question here. Is the bodhicitta generated through the four conditions, causes and powers that Je Rinpoche explains in the Lamrim Chemo, based on Asanka's bodhisattva's levels, not ultimate in this sense, not the real deal bodhicitta? Okay, is the bodhicitta generated through the four conditions, causes and powers that Je Rinpoche explains in the Lamrim Chemo, based on Asanka's bodhisattva's level, not ultimate in this sense, not the real. Ta kona kan shwe de dire shaken. Tanda changju sim ke chyo ro wa gen. Di Je Rinpoche ge Lamrim Chemo na liya ta changju sim ke che ge ke kin shi da ro wa gen. Kyu da na top se ge ro wa gen. Di tanda di ro papa thome ge changsa le shi shan ro wa gen. Song yo ro wa sa gen. O di song sha di ane lo again. I'll do it again. Dig a quantity what the dish. Dakanje, Jerumuchi Lamrin Chemona, Son de Agi, Wagen, Chanjusam Gay, Kin, she said Wagen, Juda, Tobin said Wagen. And the name Chanjusam de Wa, K. D. Any Tanda Chanjusam, Tambe Chanjusam, that Chanjusam one like your Wagen. The one di Marabe Carres again. Pigashe daddy. No, son. Geshe says that the bodhicitta that is generated through the four conditioned causes and powers, as you highlighted from Lamrim Chemo, stages of path to enlightenment by Je Rinpoche, that bodhicitta is also, the what called real bodhicitta. Okay, ultimate in the sense, not so much referring to the ultimate bodhicitta as on emptiness, but ultimate in the sense of genuine, real bodhicitta. Okay. I have another question from last week because after we finished teachings, everything, right, I think it was posted. So I kind of remember that, or I might have taken note of that. So I want to ask Geshe that. Can Kandichi Kazam Tundang Yama de Nero again? Shigdu Sanju Sem Caller again. This is the question. Are there two categories of bodhisattvas, one which derives from a Buddha and is enlightened, and one which comes from the practitioner who aspires to do the actions of a bodhisattva and has not reached enlightenment? Okay, so that's from last week. Tiwaji Kazan gen dit tangi tutanda Kazan again did the Dewa Duatanda Kasogoreta Chanju Samba de Gedi, the Sangeli gives Laroga. I said, the Koran Samada Chanju Samba ya and Yawani su your Vesa Rovage. Sangele Maki digging Chanju Samba Chicks Rovage. This is about Rovage. Yan Dinia Yamlins and Chanju Samba Chindu your Rovage. Sangen Ya Chindu you can Chanju Samba Chicks. In a Mayu and the Chanju Samba Ni or Scuzzle.
Did it deal with this? Tanda Nileg Chanju Samba in the chair, thank you, Chanju Samba Nishi, Sanje de Chanju Sim. But get the new silver. So the wrong you thought it was so about the Karza. So young shirt and tell it in the charge. You take away, and the Sosa Yans long there, Sanji River. Sanji Jimare. Said the charges of Sanji charges about later to say, I think the Tunzi Shera. You take away some Sundu. You thought they were Tunzi. All the young judges on the guest. You cheap what Chenedy? You cheap was said. Suzu Nyamsan, Kosan Yeto Mare. You are this on Yeti that the Nyamsling says about the Tomare. Oh, La Rore. That your children get so much Yomar says about Yanava. This shirt don't get the uncle Jijiba Marva. Could shirt and then Nyamsan Dora. Tis the Karsa. Shirt and any young child is some to the Sanji shows to the knee here. The Sanji March Shun and Yamnation changes some chat and it's here. So Sanji changes about their tongues in Larva. No. That the Tundu has knee. You question to the you had a shirt and to the knee. Because changes about the Sanji to the knee or this. No, sir. You do what the love young land is true. You had the shirt them in two
Sanjay chhe de mal
you chose about the Suda. Chose about the shows like in that shirt then called young land San Euro. It's the Euro. This is called tell you to the Indo, says you do love young land. Toba young land is Sanji Redo. Yeah, the shirt of Dharma young land, Sanji, you didn't do. Dharma is Sanji, so the young land Sanji, Indo. Teaching got shows symbol to go.
Kishla is trying to clarify that when we say that Sangye Changju Semba Le Tung Xin, that Buddhas are how should I say born from actually bodhisattvas. This is in the sense of let's say from practitioner's point of view, okay, that you cultivate bodhicitta and then you become a bodhisattva, then you pursue the path, then eventually you become a Buddha, right? That Buddha is born out of a bodhisattva, right? Plus you become bodhisattva and then that culminates into Buddhahood and you become a Buddha. Okay. The another kind of bodhisattva is bodhisattvas who are different persons altogether and who are giving discourses, okay, and to others, and through their discourses others can also become enlightened beings. Okay. I think what Geshe was explaining last time was how we say that Buddha's teaching enables people to practice and become bodhisattvas. This is like Buddha's teaching producing bodhisattvas, isn't it? Then these bodhisattvas follow Buddha's teaching and then they become Buddhas. So those Buddhas are born from the bodhisattvas. Do you see that path? Right. That's what we were trying to clarify last time. Okay. Let me double check if there's anything else here. If the bodhicitta generated in this way, 4 powers, etc., real ultimate bodhicitta, not emptiness, right? Then what need is for the 7 causes and effect and exchange of self for others. Okay. Ta Quran kandi yangjo di shu do ta taki jerumuchi ge rwage ta ken shi da ne gyuda chiksa rwage dinde thone changju sim ngoma de ke tu gu yonas rwage ke tu gu yoba ina ane chi kaza ge gyunde menga döngi go ne jene she kwaya da dakshen nyamje ko ne changju sim di she kwaya kal cha bre sa rwage taki ken she da di ke tu gu na rwage
ti ko ta to ba bu ti di ju she de ke chi ja de 저주스바 관계에서 가 말이 저주스바 가지게 근데 야 딘데 때는요 저주스 깨야 요레스
노서
요 님에들이 가서 생겨와 꼬마도 사제 때만 냠바 마수스야지 히어로
노서
어디다 마켓 가서데 유대 명아디다 대자데 유요 가라 티면 야 봐라 이거 너무 저다 거기다 가서야 참 샤디라 있는 거
알아 코라치고지기 너미메로
거기야 시작 가지지 다 저주스 맞는 배 등서 저주스 꼬모 휴도세야죠 영상에도 배 년이 쉬고 무슨 티치도 깨기세요 저지 디코로냐 퇴바도 미다 용으로
알아
저주스 유도 가마레
알아 코라치고지기 점심 차나게 두기지 말어게
빨라 코라치고지도
로 그래 때 마마데 되면
네가 확만 그래
노스
인제가 디소 강게 깨인도 지시오라
that's a very good question Geshe said what that really means is that those like the 4 what we call conditions or the cause and the powers we talk about through which we can generate bodhicitta, that is more like an additional kind of what we call boosting, right? Boost practice, right? It's a boost shot, right? Because without the 6 causes and 1 result instruction or the equalizing extension of others, it's one cannot generate bodhicitta. So the assumption is that we will follow these 2 other techniques to cultivate bodhicitta, and to amplify your practice of bodhicitta, then you can do the other 4 conditions, things like that. Those alone cannot generate. Let's say we don't practice the equalizing extension with others. We don't practice 6 causes and 1 result instruction. Just simply do those 4 conditions. That alone is not sufficient to generate bodhicitta. The understanding of that in the Lamrim is that there are bodhisattvas, right, provided that their practice is grounded in these other techniques, then they might think about those conditions. They're like, you know what, wow, this is Buddha's Dharma is on decline and hardly anybody's generating, so I must really generate bodhicitta. That's like a boosting, right? A mental thought. Add more power to your practice. So that's what it's all about. Okay. Let me go and see next one. Tamidwa. Kawado.
The translation the Gaden
Kawado.
Last one.
Oh yeah. Please tell which English translation text you are referring. Yeah, the text, the English translation I'm using is called A Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, Shantideva, and so this was published by the Tibetan Library, and translation was done by Tibetan bachelors. So that's the translation I'm using, but I understand that there are many other translations as well, more recent ones, but this is the text I'm using. Okay. So with that, I have announcements to make and a prayer request. So I have announcements to make on behalf of the Gaden Shartse Tenzin Dorjee. Next 2 Sundays we will take a break. Okay, next Sunday is the 7th. And because Tibetan Losar or the New Year, or maybe that's also the Losar, I think for, I understand this calendar is same, right, for Vietnamese and Chinese. So usually we do the cleaning of the Gomba. Yeah, so monks would like to take time to clean the Gomba and get ready for Losar. So next Sunday, we will have no teaching. Okay. And then the following Sunday, which is the 14th, for 2 reasons. Again, we will not have teaching because that is the 3rd day of the New Year, Tibetan Losar. Tibetans traditionally celebrate 3 days, maybe in America we never had 3 days except this year, I don't know what happened. And also the monks have been informed it is the Valentine's Day. So they said, well, that's not relevant to them, but they respect that. And so therefore for the Valentine, Valentine happiness, so we keep a break too. So next 2 Sundays, we will have a break and then we'll resume the teaching after that. Okay. I have a prayer request, again, dear Jamju Narona, Tanda Tokara Kono Tesa, Resha, Shivju Shinul Chungdo again. Kazan Nan Mengan Yesa, and it talked up Chedolia to make Jamju Narona. A prayer has been requested for Mr. Nguyen Van Treat, who was born in 42, and so he is unwell, and a prayer has been requested for quick recovery. So we know that many others who need prayers, so we will do the Medicine Buddha mantra together. Toje Gongla Nyombe, Jomdende, Senzang Tebe, Ngendu, Dungese, Duzonese, Sange, Mengela, Bindu Yayevola. Dayata on Begas, Begas, Mambegas, Begas, runs a Samogade, so Dayata on Begas, Begas, Mambegas, Begas, runs a Samogade, so Dayata Begas, Begas, Mambegas, Begas, Samogade. Bagama Begas, Begas, runs a Samogade, so Dayata on Begas, Begas, Mambegas, Begas, runs a Samogade. Dayata on Begas, Begas, Mambegas, Begas, runs a Samogade, so Dayata on Begas, Begas, Mambegas, Begas, Dayata on Begas, Begas, Mambegas, Begas, runs a Samogade, so Dayata on Begas, Begas, Mambegas, Begas. Tayada Begaze, Begaze, Ma Begaze, Begaze, and the Samawat so Gavandi, Nudoda, Membe Yevon, Dojonen, Doa Chijamal, Teye Sala, Barash, Tayati Wachi Person again. Dirish again, that Tangi, Tandagan, the Kenshi, the Digedi, Kota, Troxer, Sumberwagen, Janjusim, the Yashamarwa, Dimba in any Tambo Carson Sumres, Again. Quanyamling, Bogdan Che in Arwa, Troche, and the Troche in the game.
Some children, Kayes and that Chajusita Gom to Gombo or the Shena in Bay Sanye de Banyata or Riado. Young Shajus of Congo Chejo. Could it take in the Kono Yan Samu Sugar? You are this.
I Bogdan gets up.
The Ninja was the Tiget Yogarda.
in a
Take on that Tavado.
the Bogdan Chagamarwa.
Pondons and none say Shamari.
Alenos.
She said, yeah, that's Shagara.
Alenos. Okay, maybe I need to correct myself as I was telling Geshe how I put it in the boost practice. Geshe doesn't think it should be called boost practice, those 4 conditions. He said there are cases of those who generate bodhicitta, because as just like for example we said, while this is such degenerated time, the Buddha Dharma is on decline and sincere practitioners are very rare, and so I just can't have Buddha Dharma degenerate, so I want to generate. So thinking that way, so they kind of get interested to cultivate bodhicitta. So I think delete the boost one, which I think added, so practice there. Okay. So
No, you gave what I was saying, you choose it, the number that was saying, you say, here, maybe.
no,
Or the Kanja Kaji, Lola, Shardu Kavajara.
no,
Maybe in the solar again, similar size, any kind of song yet in the Yomara.
no.
The Shina something again, similar song yes, like Cretina song is the something damage to Gazara.
No, sir.
Or did it again, you said the Kanja Kaji or the Resamuton, call you again, your this and she was.
No. Geshe says that kind of thinking or thought is a possibility, and for example, when we talk about different types of bodhicittas, such as something called we call like a king-like bodhicitta generation. That means you want to be bodhisattva first, and then you want to have everybody else, right? Or that is what called shepherd-like bodhicitta. You want all your animals to be safe, and then you want to follow them, right? So you want everybody to be bodhisattvas and Buddhas first, and then you want to follow them. But that's a mindset, right? There's no such thing as you are going to be the last person to become a Buddha, right? Thinking that way. Or some way of generating bodhicitta is that I don't want to be left behind, so I want to be more like the boatman. I'm rowing the boat. I'm together. I'm kind of crossing the ocean, right? So these are different ways of thinking of bodhicitta, but in reality, right, bodhicitta doesn't mean that you will be left behind or you will be Buddha together or things like that. So there's just a different mindset. So it's like that as well. Okay. So with that, we will do our dedication prayers. First, we will do Manjushri, and then one stanza Song Rinpoche long life prayer, and then remaining dedication prayers. Kange lo de dimnyen dinde ninda namda rabsebe jinyen dungwe chichen zeche ninye doga meba kanda zebe zera mare mendon dungwe yesebe lozo kyunla buje daze yanla chuje yande roda jedro nyemo nyelo neje chadro dred Mare Muse Dunge Nyuwo Jinye Junze Radena Dene Dache Sach Yeze Duwe Gon Juda Juda Junyi Jende Dalu Muse Jambe Yang Omara Bazana Omara Bazana De Zende Cheje Kera Muse Ye Dalu Temo Memba Pada Denje Junglu Toba Ye Lode Zendo Ze Lode Gaze Vidun Bega Je Gesa Bonwe Chido Memba Shen Tenba Zinla Wando Chanyen Shogwen Jola Sowa De Changju Simcho Rinpo Je Ma Je Bana Jeju Je Jewa Nyenba Kone Gondo Pewa Sho Tongni Tawa Rinpo Je Ma Je Bana Jeju Je Jewa Kone Gondo Pewa Sho Sa Shi Beje Juje Mendo Chama Rira Linshi Nyende Yenba De Sanje Shindo Yogue Nanda Shinla Jeba Sho Kanri Rave Korwe Shingam De Pendang Dewa Ma Lu Jongwe Chere Se Wang Tenzin Dorjee Shabe Side Tenjo Je Idaman Guru Rana Mandel Niyanda Yamin Gyawa Kundo Yanda Lamanda Deme Chege Pela Longje Je Sada Lamye Yender Loje Change Goba Nyodo